any of the earlier sessions. Well, welcome everyone to the marketing breakout session. We're going to have a great discussion today. This is not going to be like other sessions. Today we are all the speakers.
Yeah.
And we're here to share what we're doing within marketing as well as the PRME principles. And I'm so thrilled and honored to be with the amazing Maha Murad as well as Dina. Dina, are you still here?
Yes,
there she is. Dina Lissau. There you are. You
yes.
moved around for a little bit. Maha is a tenured professor of marketing, associate dean for undergraduate studies at the School of Business at the American University. Maha is joining us from Egypt, but what's also did her background in the UK as well. My name is Lisa Leander. I am the founder and CEO of Women in Business Education, or WEBE, a membership organization for the amazing women academics. Usually I'm in Washington, D.C. Today I'm in a hotel room in the beautiful Newcastle, England. So we are all over. Dina Lizzo is a senior lecturer in marketing, international lead of the Department of Marketing. Ooh, okay, keeps going. Hang with me. International Business and Tourism in Manchester Metropolitan University. Before that, she worked as an associate lecturer in Salford Business School and also in France before that. Welcome, Dina. Welcome, Maha. But really, we are all here to have a discussion on what we're doing. So let's go ahead and get started with our first question. Maha, tell me a little bit about what you are doing integrating the PRME principles specifically into your curriculum.
I will try to be as brief as possible, so we just give a room for our participants to share their experience as well. And we are doing a lot in the university. Let me just talk from different perspective. My perspective as a formal chair of the case center that we have, and it's the first case center in the region, in the MENA region, to provide cases for education purpose. And while I'm the chair of these centers, we are trying as much as we can to have cases that we use as an example in the class reflecting the prime principles. So this is one arm that we used to do. And following this, I was also the chair of the management department in our school. And in this case, we start revamping the whole curriculum in two phases. And the first phase was to transfer, instead of having a bachelor in business administration, now we have more concentrated degrees. One of them is a marketing degree, a whole business administration and marketing. And in my capacity as the chair as well, we start developing several courses reflecting the prime principle, like, for example, having a course about bottom of the pyramids marketing, and several other courses we are taking in consideration the sustainabilities to be embedded within the curriculum. And then finally, on my capacity as an associate dean, one of my tasks is to oversee the accreditation office. And as a school, we are triple crowned. You see the logos here. So we have the 3 accreditation, and I'm overseeing the 3 accreditation maintenance, which means that I have a visit each year. One semester report and one semester visit. But overall, what I notice is that now the new system in writing all the reports is focusing on the impact. So either it's not only a matter of reporting the activities, but we are reporting the impact of the activities and to what extent we are taking in consideration all the sustainability issues and all the prime principles, 6 principles within our curriculum. To be more specific, about my courses in marketing that I'm teaching as a professor by wearing the hat of a professor and making a link with the 6 prime principle, starting with the first one, which is the purpose. In any marketing course, we are trying now to change the mindset of the students. Instead of working only for profit and economics developments, we are trying as much as we can to convince them to work for a value and start defining what is a value. Okay, and taking this in consideration. So this is there in every class, in the syllabus, in the curriculum, and so on. So focusing on the value and the benefit to the society and environmental values as well, and activities start to be embedded in all our courses. Moving to the next principle, which is values in general, and having the ethical consideration and social responsibilities embedded in the marketing strategy, we are trying as much as we can to invite guest speakers, as well as using cases to showcase to the student that you can just have your value and ethical consideration while still successful, while still creating a brand, and still as well generating profit. Then moving to the third principle, which is the methods of delivery. And this is actually what we are doing now at this phase, where we are doing what we call content mapping. Content mapping, where we check all the courses that we have, double check that the SDGs and all the sustainabilities and environmental and ethical consideration are embedded in the courses, and we highlighting the gap, and we are trying to fulfill the gap. So the idea of double check the method of the content development as well as the delivery is actually what we are doing now. We have several successful relatively examples to share that I can just share later on, like embedding, for example, CBL, which we call it community-based learning projects in several courses. So the courses are, we call it CBL, and we mark the courses whether this is a CBL course or not. So this is making a lot of buzz marketing within the school and awareness among the students as well. Also, we are trying to have different simulations in the delivery process. In addition, the simulation, for example, in marketing, and I'm sure a lot of you as a marketeer use the marketing STRA. Now, the new version of the simulation is with sustainability. So as a faculty, we start being trained to include the sustainability aspects as well, and to have it as part of our simulation. This is definitely in addition to the cases, in the delivery, in addition to having several guest speakers and trying to showcase of success stories. Then as a fourth principle, the research. We are trying as much as we can to encourage our faculty, because this is the resistant arm that we have. We encourage our faculties to embed all the principle within the courses and to work more on the impact of marketing on society and environment as part of the research activities and research agenda. We are doing this by having this as part of our research statement and as a pillar of the school. In our case, we are trying to encourage faculty to publish in a specific direction through the point system. So we give them several points based on the publication, is a Q1 or Q2 or whatever. Now we are adding 10% to any publication tackling sustainability. So this is actually what we are trying to do at this stage. And also we are trying to, and definitely I'm encouraging all of you to participate, we are trying to create research groups. So having research groups from different countries, doing a comparative analysis, how we implement sustainability in the curriculum in different courses. Usually the possibility to be published in a top tier journal usually is higher than focusing on one country. So that's why this is how we encourage faculty to tackle this topic. Then as a fifth principle is the partnership. Okay, and we are keen to have a partnership with different stakeholders, mainly with the employers. And we are trying to convince the employers to run several competitions on campus. It's a part of publicity for them. It's part of showing their social responsibility. And at the same time, it's just a chance for our students to participate in a marketing plan with an impact. So this is what we are trying to do in the collaborations with the labor market. Also, we are through our internship program and what we call co-op program, where students leave the campus for one semester and go and work outside the campus. We are trying to select companies and banks with a very clear social responsibility arm. And we are trying to hire students and encourage them to participate in their internship programs, because we are trying to change the DNA of the students. Finally, the sixth principle is the dialogue and the open speech and so on. And we are keen that in each year we have what we call business forum, several roundtable. Definitely in each year we have at least one roundtable tackling sustainability in details. And in this roundtable we are inviting a lot of the decision makers in the communities, as well as business people, as well as people representing the government and so on. And we open the dialogue for sustainability and how could we implement it. So this is in a very brief way how we link the sixth principle of PRIME to our curriculum and activities.
Thank you, Maha. That is quite a lot. I'm interested to know more about your internship programs, especially in Egypt, where I feel that it's going to be a very different situation. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. Dina, let's switch over to you. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with the PRME principles in your curriculum. And then I am going to call you out next on this call as well. So Laura and Madeline, be prepared to step up to give an example of what you are doing in your curriculum. Dina, take your time because they're going to be thinking about it. And then we'll go to the others as well. All right, Dina, tell us.
Great. Yeah. Hello again, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity to participate in these very interesting discussions. And it is kind of brainstorming, I think, for everyone that participates in these discussions, because we possibly find lots of shared values in our institutions and organizations. On top of my role as a senior lecturer in Manchester Metropolitan University, I am the international lead for my department. And this actually always gives me a perspective of how other universities, how other institutions approach all these concepts, not just in marketing, but I think that these concepts should apply to everything we do in our organizations. So for us in marketing, it is very similar to what we do in international business as well, because we are a department of marketing, international business and tourism. So you will see that sustainability, all these practices we do, responsible marketeers, responsible professionals, it is about what actually we deliver in our curriculum. So I will go over in a similar way with Maha about the different principles. And I would like to start with purpose. So for us as well, purpose is actually not just for students, but equally for staff. I think it is very important when we look at these principles from both sides. So it is the customer is first for us. Yes, it is first. So, but customer is a student as well for a university. So we need to lead by example. And this is something that we keep discussing all the time in anything we do in the university. We do promote a lot in our values. We do promote a lot about responsibility, creating responsible marketeers. Being able to graduate from a university and actually carry the values that you are taught is really, really important in individual level, but equally for organizational level as well. We do embed values in case studies, for example, we teach. In materials we share, on ideas that we discuss with our students. So everything is part of the curriculum. It's not only curriculum, what happens in class for us. It is what else we can offer to students, the whole experience, the whole learning experience that students have, that can be inside the class, it can be outside the class. We are quite lucky because in Manchester, we are the second biggest city in the UK. That means that we have access to industry, we have access to speakers, we have access to other stakeholders, and we try to engage with as much stakeholders as we can. So it is actually very important to keep updating our curriculum, to have this voice from outside of the university. What is really happening out there? What industry actually needs from university? What are the characteristics? What is the profile of graduates they need? So we need to actually update curriculum accordingly and listen what they have to offer to us, what they suggest. So we try to have this close relationship with industry. Obviously from those they are in northwest of the country, but equally across the country and across the globe, what we can learn from them. Now, when it comes to research, research always, as Maha put it, is, there is a little bit pushback, but equally, we know it is so important. And one of the activities I do feel is really, really important is how you embed research in teaching. So having research-led education is really, really important. It is important because this engages staff with research, shows the importance of research, but equally provides students the opportunity to keep up with the trends, to know what exactly is happening, and it is an element that definitely should be reflected in the curriculum. We do as well when it comes to partners. I mentioned about the industry, about guest speakers that we often bring to speak to our students, to give them an insight, to give them opportunities to share experiences. Quite likely, sometimes we do have offers for jobs as well. We also have internships, and we actually promote it quite well to students to get this opportunity to get the experience of internship. Internship can be in a form of 3 months. For some students, it can be in a form of a year, depending on what they want to do. So it is very, very important that the graduate has some experience. I'm here in France in a different university today teaching, and what I've heard from students from summer school, they were saying, you know, we try to get some experience, we try to get a job, we apply to too many applications, and we don't get a response. What is happening there? They all looking for experience, but they know that we just graduate. How this can happen? And we know it is a huge struggle for students to get their first job, to get a job that they are interested. And we always say, get some experience while you are a student. It is very important, even if it's a short time. It's something that definitely develops your CV. So this is something else we do. And another principle here around how do we share, we try to disseminate in academic and pedagogy conferences, for example. We try to engage staff and PGR students as well to participate in conferences, either conferences that they are in-house or conference, international conference, depending on their research areas. So we do have some initiatives there that we support research from different angles. And I think this actually summarizes very briefly our practices around that.
Thank you so much, Dina and Maha, for getting us started. So as we go around the room, I would like to hear additional things you're doing that have not already been mentioned, or maybe one specific program. Laura, do you got something for us? And remind everyone where you're calling from again and what you want to share.
Sure. My name's Laura McAllister, and I am a senior lecturer in marketing at UE Bristol, University of the West of England in the UK. And I'm also UN Prime Lead for the whole business school. So I've got my particular focus on marketing, but I'm also part of a large program review for the whole business school, where we are mapping all of our new modules against the Sustainable Development Goals. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to move away from just having a sort of tack-on module on sustainability, and we're trying to integrate sustainability across all of the modules. So, for example, every program will have a global citizenship learning outcome. So that links in with the prime principles. But something that I've done recently, which worked really, really well on my module, which is Introduction to Social Marketing. So using behavior change and commercial marketing techniques for social good, is getting the students to actually choose a sustainable development goal that they felt particularly passionate about, and designing a behavior change campaign to address the sustainable Development Goal. And that worked really, really well, and it really engaged them. And it kind of got them thinking in a much more kind of systems thinking kind of way, and looking at the entire, the impact of marketing and what the impact that it has, not just necessarily on consumers and a target audience, but the kind of overall impact, the kind of global impact, the upstream and downstream impact. So that's worked really, really well. But yeah, it's just really lovely to hear what everyone's up to as well. And yeah, that's probably, I'll stop there because I could talk about this stuff forever. So
I feel it's
thanks,
so
Lisa.
subjective though, right? The global citizen.
Yeah.
How did you get a definition for that? How did that, how did you define that?
Well, it's still early days. So these modules are going to launch in 2025. So the idea of the global citizenship aspect to it is getting students to think about their place in the world and how they are going to consider all of the ESG principles within their program. So we'll start, and what I'm really excited about is that we've got 3 sort of professional strands that are going to go from level 1, 2, and 3, and what they'll be doing is they'll start out thinking about, you know, what their purpose is, what their values are, what they want to get out of their degree, and then that will move much more into, by level 3, they'll be looking at their own discipline. So for example, marketing, they'll be looking at how a marketer's role will relate to, for example, the HR function, or the supply chain function, or the greater the societies that they, or the stakeholders out in society that they are going to have an impact on. So it's really hard. Yeah, it is hard to define. We haven't quite done that yet. But what we want it to be is kind of very much the student kind of taking that idea and running with it. Like, what is their own personal role, and link that to their degree. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's exciting.
I'll have Maha go next, but I was visualizing like this passport that you'd get each of them.
Oh, I know. Oh no, not quite, but actually kind of what's interesting,
and you can have each of the principals as a different page,
yeah,
and they have to get a stamp.
We should. But so what we're trying to, particularly in marketing, what we're trying to move away from is this idea of consumers, and consumers as citizens. So again, moving away from the kind of profit making, selling stuff to people that they don't want, and actually being much more purpose-led. So it's the idea that, you know, through what we buy, and as marketers, our role is more it's purpose over profit, and it's the idea that we can actually live our values through, you know, what we consume and what we buy. So that's the idea.
Yeah. I just will have one comment. Taban, I love the term live our values, and we used to say this to the students, especially in the last class. You have to live your values. And this is an extremely important issue, because it's not only our responsibility to the society or our societal impact, but honestly, because now even the graduates, when they go for the interviews, the employers start asking them some questions about global citizen, responsible citizen, and so on. So they need to be prepared. In our case, to make our students prepared, we have this, we call it not global citizen, we call it responsible citizen. It's the same term. Yeah. And we put it as one of our learning outcomes of the program. And the problem that we face is that since we put it as one of our learning outcomes, okay, so we have to measure it for accreditation purpose. So this was the challenge, how to measure it. And we measure it honestly through the SORI test, which is a test by the UN. And now we are trying to have it more sophisticated technique. Instead of the SORI test, we are having the task, which is another test by United Nations. But on the same time, this test ends with a certificate to highlight to what extent the students are aware with all of these terms. So even if they are just aware, this will help them. Definitely, it's micro-credentials, so they are putting the certificate on their CV and link, but also during the interview, this helped a lot. So this was just my comment. Yeah.
Can I also add a comment here, if possible?
Yes, Dina, yes.
Yes, so I think something that I found really, really interesting from the presentation is that this interdisciplinary element, which is very, very important, that we see the business as the whole. It's not just marketing, it's not just finance, it's not only entrepreneurship. What I like a lot is when you think the business as a whole. So you create a graduate where they are aware of that. And of course, it has to do with the values. So you are not just looking on a role that probably you adopt through your interview. Yeah, that was great. I think that this is something that we have always to remember, that business is not just one thing.
Yeah, true.
Fantastic, Laura. Although I did see you nodding when I said little bit of pushback. Did that resonate with you?
Yeah,
how much pushback
definitely.
has there been to this?
I think that there is a kind of preconceived idea that, you know, sustainability is kind of, it's not here yet. It's something in the future. It's something that other people do, that that the very sort of idea of sustainability being integral in a business school is, it's not really pushback. It's just kind of people not really relating to it. And what it means. Yeah, really fluffy. And I actually really don't like the word, as a marketer, I don't like the word sustainability very much, because it's kind of, it doesn't, I don't know what the alternative is, but I think it just kind of, it does switch people off a little bit. So what we've been trying to do, is just kind of make it really relevant to exactly what, you know, to what we teach. And the one thing that I found the most effective is talking about green skills, and talking about how, you know, there aren't going to be sustainability jobs anymore. Everybody's job in the future is going to be, you know, you're going to be expected to know about sustainability, and be, you know, have that resilience, and have that kind of, so it's, when you link it to sort of, you know, the importance of critical thinking, the importance of resilience, and all these kind of soft skills that our graduates need to have, you can kind of see people, the light bulb moment kind of happening. So it's almost like you've got to kind of dangle a bit of a carrot to, and this is staff and students, that, you know, it's linking sustainability, which everyone, you know, everyone knows about, that it's important now. Everybody can, you know, it wants to do something, but there's that value action gap between, you know, people kind of actually doing something. So it's kind of like bridging that gap, and making students and staff realize how important it is to future career, you know, our graduates being sustainably conscious, and having a sustainability mindset, and kind of just making it really relevant to what people are teaching and what people are doing. Yeah.
I think you're in a really comfortable audience for that entire conversation that we're all grappling this. I do want to now switch over to Madeline Trimble, who, again, in her title as societal impact, right? Which I feel like we have in the States moved away from sustainability. It's not, I'd be interested to know your understanding and talking about impact or change management as well. But Madeline, introduce yourself and tell us an example of what you're doing in your curriculum.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Madeline Trimble has said, I'm at Illinois State University. It's a big public state school in the central Illinois, the middle of the state. I'm the director of engagement and societal impact. And exactly like Lisa said, we actually kind of moved away from the director of sustainability title and moved it towards this other title that aligns a little bit with accreditation. But I do have a partner director who's the director of business sustainability. He's just traveling today. So kind of together we work on this prime report and some other accreditation related reports. So I've been siloed. I just started this role last month. I've been siloed in my department. So I'm just kind of getting an idea of at the college level what we're achieving in these areas, and also focus. So kind of what Maha was talking about with curriculum mapping is definitely something we're working towards right now, and identifying, I don't know if anyone's talked about it, and I've been listening for it throughout today, about maybe specializing. So as opposed to just gathering data on all 17 goals, if we're trying to define a little bit closer, not like a passport where you can specialize, which I love what Laura and Dean were talking about letting you buy into your purpose. That's such a cool idea. So I love that concept. I'm writing that down. I want to take that with me, but we're kind of maybe focusing on a few areas and trying to make teaching incentives and research incentives align with those going forward. So again, it's kind of a starting point. So I just had a couple of like practical ideas related to what we're doing, because I know we're doing a lot. We're maybe not as good at marketing at what we're doing in the area of sustainability and our societal impact. But I do know that we've started a general education course related to DEIB, feelings of belonging in the workplace, that not only services our students, but services students outside of our college. So at the university level, we have a sustainability minor that again is open to non-business majors to take. So we're trying to spread that message, not just within, which is going to be the core amount of students, but also outside of our university. For getting some of that buy-in, we've also been working on some badging, so students can get those LinkedIn badges through we have Birds Get Ready. It's like an online portfolio they can create out and then push out into LinkedIn if they're doing things along the line of sustainability. So we do get buy-in, we do get their interest in what all the amazing things that they're doing in their RSOs and their classrooms. So that's really great. And these resources, again, we were just building out. We have some of them already. We're building some more out, and we're going to do a big series starting in the fall where we bring in faculty to let them know about outlets where they can find cases on sustainability to use in the classroom, and outlets for research in the area of sustainability, kind of building off of that so that they're bringing that, research-based education we've been talking about back into the room too. And that we have, these badges available, and they're pretty easy to make, and I'm happy to help them through that process so that the students can feel identity with what areas they are self-selecting into. And it doesn't have to be the ones we're going to focus on in the college. I think a lot of them will align since we're taking from what they're doing already. But I'd be curious if we do see, emergence in a certain area, if we want to kind of build on that going forward as part of our strategic mission. And leveraging our institutes too. So we have a great marketing institute, sales institute. We have an entrepreneurial institute within our college. And I want to make sure that, the questions that we're asking when the students are coming in and presenting these ideas, that we're bringing the sustainability questions from the judging and factoring that into their proposal. So it should be part of the proposal. It should be evaluated during the presentation and part of that structure for awards and things of that nature too. So it's been a fun experience going forward, but I would say, we're definitely doing stuff, we're working on marketing it, but there's room to grow here. So I'm learning a lot today.
I think as we think about curriculum, there are two ways, and Laura explained, okay, we're going to learn a little bit and make sure we touch all of them, versus let's just take the 1, 2, or 3 that you're interested in and go deep. Those are very different strategies. And I was just thinking from myself, I do feel like 17 is a lot of a buffet that can just feel overwhelming, and gets to that nature, Laura, of a little bit of just a tiny bit of something is really nothing. And that, how do you get that impact as well versus people feeling overwhelmed by it? I know I think about, I'm like, okay, do we even on this call, could we do a quick exam? Okay, put all 17 in the chat, right? No, we can't. So does that just become too much versus a little? Maha, you've got your raise. What is resonating with you in this conversation?
Yeah, I just have a question to Madeline. Yeah, I was staying in Naperville, just near Chicago, so I'm emotionally attached to the place. But anyway, another issue, I just want to ask you about reporting.
Mhm.
We are all facing this now, societal impact, and a lot of activities are taking place in research in different centers with the students' curriculum and so on. And we have to report all of this in an organized way to submit to our accreditation office, impact report, whatever we are doing. So do you have an idea how you do the communication and the reporting process in an efficient way?
Okay, so you're speaking my language. This is what I was brought on to do. So it's definitely, if I had the answer, I would love to share it. But I'm gathering information. We've been talking in the Wibby group in the chat there, kind of sharing ideas in the ASCSB exchange. We've been sharing ideas. What we're going to try to do in the fall, what we're going to do is going to do a rebrand and make our societal impact and our mission advertised across the board. And have kind of touch points throughout the semester. And so we've been really aligning so it's to different groups, right? So we're gonna have this rollout so that our faculty, our staff, our students, alumni, whoever's coming to campus know these are our missions, these are our goals, this is the stuff we're really focusing on, so people are more willing to report it, that they know these are important. And we wanna start pushing those out at meetings and agendas, at committee meetings and all of that. But we're also gonna have touch points. So if you wanna apply for, an award, you have to make sure that your profile is updated, that you've reported along these areas. If you want to, for your annual review at the end of the year, which is in December, right, that profile has to be updated. We need that data. So we're kind of having to use it a little bit as a, carrot and a stick, right, like a stick. So you don't really qualify for travel funds for conferences if you're not filling out these reports that we need done. But we're also trying with carrots, right, so that the incentive structure too. So through some awarding and recognition in a lot of ways too. And so bringing it into the culture. And so it's going to be a cultural shift. It's not going to be fast to get people to, it doesn't feel like it's compliance and extra work, but something that is important to us. We value this. We're going to share what you're doing. There's value in what you're doing. We want to know for important reasons and try to get more buy-in. So I do think it's going to be a longer process. But I mean, if in really brass tacks, we're also using like different systems. I'm happy to share those of how we're collecting the data, but
Ladies, that sounds definitely like a women in business education project. So thanks so much for sharing, Mel, and thank you so much, Laura, as well. Michael, would you be willing to share a bit about what you're doing in India?
Before he starts, could I just highlight that he was nominated to the Best Teaching and Marketing Award by Prime? Yeah. So he has a lot of very good examples. So you just concentrate, okay?
I apologize. The award-winning leader of PRME to put us all, please share with us to the audience.
Okay, thank you so much once again for having me here. Okay, in India, specifically here at Boxing, what we do as far as sustainability and PRME is concerned, of course, research is at the core of what we do. We don't just advocate for research for the sake of doing it. We do research that is meaningful, research that has impact specifically. So we encourage our students and of course staff as well to do research that is impactful to the society, not just for the sake of Scopus or ABDCA and the rest of it. We do research that can actually give meaning to the society, and of course we also encourage our partners. We have partners in the industry that do come to campus to talk to the students and of course to the staff as well in terms of marketing summit, for instance. So we try to see that our students don't just have the knowledge in the classroom, they also get to meet industry experts and they are able to talk to them. So all of this is being embedded into the curriculum, and of course talking about societal impact as well. I heard Laura talking about societal impact versus sustainability. Yeah, we also ensure that we have what we call Center of Excellence. Okay, so we call it COE. So there are a lot of COEs here on campus, not just about marketing, but something that is being driven, by the university itself. So there are COEs, try rural India and the rest of them. So these are avenues by which the university, encourages staff and students to get outside the campus and do something meaningful to the society. And of course, we teach value to our students in terms of case studies. We also take case studies and see what's difficulties or dilemmas being faced by companies, so that when they go out there, they don't just go with book knowledge. They also go for internship. As of now, our students are internship. And again, this is compulsory for all students, not just marketing students. It's compulsory for all students. They go out there for internship and they come back with reports every week. They send reports. They have mentors, faculty mentors who they send reports to every week while they are there on internship. And these reports are turned into case studies, okay, at the end of their internship. So it's a whole lot we are doing here in attempt to see that we get the societal impact, and of course our students get the best, which will take them to become global citizens, as we have already said. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, could I just have a quick comment?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we have a similar program in Egypt, which we call it co-op programs, where students also leave the same program, leave the campus and go to companies and try to serve the society, submit the reports weekly and so on. But the problem is that we have a very high resistance from the parents to send their students in these programs. Yani, we totally believe in the value of these programs and the adding value of the programs, but in our culture, that's why I'm wondering what is the situation in your culture. In our culture, parents are the people who is paying for the students. So for them to leave the campus for a semester and go to work and return back, it's usually a very big question mark. And this is the problem that we are facing. We find very, very good companies serving the society and the community, and we match with the student and we find the supervisor, and then we find resistance from the parents to join. We're still running the programs, but we run the program each semester with 10 to 15 students instead of 30 or 50 students.
Oh,
so,
okay. Okay, yeah, the difference here is it's a credit-based course. So
okay.
it's like,
our is credit
yeah.
as well. Yeah, our is credit as well. But they are taking only 3 credits through the semester. So the parents prefer that they stay on campus, take the full experience of the 5 courses, 15 credits, and then whenever they go out, they can just serve the society. Unfortunately, this is
what we do. Yeah, the difference here is it's done during the holiday. Okay, so here it is done during the holiday. So nobody's on campus. As I'm talking to you now, students are away. Okay, they are not expected to be on campus. It's done during the holiday and it's credit based. So you've got to send your reports every week, knowing fully well that it's going to count towards your degree. And of course, we also encourage the mentors, the faculty members to visit, if possible, some of these places. Okay, and of course, each student is supposed to send their supervisors either email and phone numbers, so that we also get in touch with them, we get feedback. So our assessment is not just based on the report students are sending, it's also based on the feedback from the supervisors. So it's during the holiday, so you have no choice. You can't be on campus, you have to be away, and it is credit based.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing. Congrats again.
You're welcome.
Reshmi, tell us some of what you're working on.
Everyone, my name is Reshmi. I am an international student currently studying in Canada. I'm from India, and I'm currently pursuing my strategic marketing communication, my postgraduate degree at Conestoga College. But I am also working with Conestoga College School of Business as a sustainability communications assistant. So I might be an outcast here because you're all professionals and you're all tutors, educators. I'm the one who's learning from here. So I don't know if I'm in the right meeting with you all, but I'm glad I joined because this is amazing. And I just saw marketing education, and since I am a marketing student as well as a sustainability communications professional, so I'm very excited to be here. I might be able to give you the students' perspective
Yes.
of having the sustainability part of your curriculum. So at Conestoga, even with my program, and there are multiple other programs as well, like sustainability business management within Conestoga, and it is amazing to see how educational institutes take it as their responsibility to educate us. I had no idea about the topic until I joined the college. So I'm very excited, and that which is also why I completed my first year, and I'm on my break right now, my summer break, and I have another year to go. Only after a year I realized, or I came across the sustainability communications, or SDGs and Prime. I was introduced to it only after pursuing my education here. So at Conestoga, there are numerous opportunities. The programs reflect today's business needs across the globe. Providing a range of credentials, 1-year certificates, and there are also micro credentials that will help faculties as well to integrate Prime into their teaching practices. And as a student, I have found myself in various real-time and practical approaches of integrating sustainability in marketing and sustainability in creating different communication strategies for branding purposes, which is very exciting because after completing my education, I want to pursue something related to marketing or communications, and I will keep it in mind as to how to integrate sustainability, or like Laura mentioned, environmental responsibility is something I would like to call it. Just changing the term just for the sake of it, just so we know. I think everybody has to take their own responsibility, and as a student, or as somebody who's going to go out there, I do have some work experience with regards to social media marketing and digital marketing per se from back in India. But here, coming into a very global perspective, I think it has equipped me to understand how to provide this to the world, how to communicate it better to the world, taking in a lot of global perspective, which is very interesting. And I'm so excited to see how a lot of institutions across the globe are taking their efforts to do the same. And yeah, and I'm just excited to be here to learn, to learn from you all. Just to listen to you all talk has really, like I'm glad there are a lot of advocates like us who's proceeding with the goals. So it's yeah. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
What a
We are
great
glad to have you.
conversation.
Yeah,
What a
can
great
I add a
group.
comment here, Lisa,
Go
for
ahead,
Resmi?
Maha, please do.
Yeah, this is Dina. Resmi, we should say that, we learn from you as well. It is a two-way system that works. We are the educators, but equally in class, we learn a lot about what our students carry, what they bring in class, from your culture, from your skills, from your knowledge, your perspective, because the curriculum and everything we do, it is around developing yourselves and developing ourselves as individuals and as educators. So it is a two-way system that always works. And we're very glad that we have you here sharing your views.
Thank you. And I'm also just like to add on a point. So my major work includes, best ways to communicate sustainability within the curriculum to the students. So that I can, help my fellow students. So I'm going to have a lot of takeaways from this meeting to inform the students as well. So thank you,
Excellent.
everyone. Yeah.
I want to turn to challenges now and a quick time check. We have about 20 minutes. So let's start out, everyone, take a minute and think about what is your greatest challenge right now for thinking about societal impact or sustainability in your curriculum. And so one challenge, let's just take a quiet minute and everyone type it into the chat. Or I should have had you write it down and then chat it. Do something different that someone else doesn't write. Let's get 9 different challenges. But let's talk about engaging staff and faculty resistance, perceptions about how ethical marketing is. Dina, can you start out on what perceptions on how ethical marketing is? Who is giving those perceptions and what?
I think that, you know, if you follow the news, every day we have so many stories that businesses fall into unethical practices when it comes to marketing and other areas of businesses. So there is this perception, I think, from everyone that marketing is money-driven, while we try to teach quite the opposite. However, we know businesses, at the end of the day, they want to make money. So the perception is, how do they actually approach everything they do in a more ethical way? What do they do for the communities? What do they do for the social good? How they support everything that individuals need from an ethical perspective. So I think this is something that everyone carries, either from a student perspective, staff perspective, businesses, jobs, everything has this. So I don't know how we overcome this. It is a constant challenge. Since I studied, which is many, many years ago. I don't know your perspective in that point.
I believe, Lisa Leander, personally, that if we do not show a direct tie to profit, it's bad. Anyone else agree or disagree with that statement? I would love to hear other perspectives.
I agree with profit, but the idea is we are trying to make students learn that it is a long-term profit, not a short-term profit. So if we are putting and integrating the societal impact, it's mainly a more long-term, because students and society will be satisfied in the long term. So this is how we are trying to convince them in a lot of cases. Yeah,
I've seen from a younger generation, from students, that they are more aware about ethical practices, and they request more ethical practices from businesses. They are more demanding, comparing to my generation. I think we were very soft with that. If I compare what happens now, and I'm seeing students actually taking some actions in order to overcome these challenges. And no matter if they are in the UK or if they are in France, I've seen that across different cultures. But it seems like younger generations, they are more ready to overcome these challenges.
Maha, what have you seen in regards to faculty resistance? Give us some examples.
Maybe I'll give you an example from my institutions, because faculties, when it's come to do any type of change in their curriculum and so on, sometimes there's a resistance because they are so much keen about their evaluation. So they feel if they go out of the norm, if they are adding more experiential learning, more community-based projects, dealing with an external stakeholders who they cannot guarantee the performance, this might negatively affect their evaluation. And sometimes, in a lot of cases, this is a problem that we are facing when we are trying to convince faculties to have the community-based project, for example, embedded in the course. So we have this resistance. When we start doing the content mapping and telling some faculty that there's a gap in their courses and they need to focus on at least one or two of the SDGs, or even one of the SDG, sometimes there's a resistance, because usually to convince faculty to change their style, their curriculum, what they are doing, especially the senior tenured faculty. So it's a problem that we are facing. We're trying to encourage them, because I really like your phrases today, whether Michael or Dina, that to having a research with an impact, we are trying to pull them to grants and to research groups, so they are involved in more activities relating to sustainability or having a research with impact. They can just take it to the classroom. So we are trying to do this, but usually it's one of the challenges that we are facing.
Can I say something to that? Yeah, I agree with you, Maha, regarding this issue of resistance. You spoke about being a nominee for the Prime Faculty Award. What actually gave me that was the social impact thing that I embedded into my course. Okay, and I remember when I shared this with one of my colleagues that, okay, I wanted to do this. He was like, no, it's not needed. He just didn't encourage me. But I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that this is what the students need. They don't just need the cognitive, knowledge in class alone. These students are brilliant. Okay? Sometimes you give them the course material, they can read it and digest the rest of it. But they need the affective domain too. They need to know that learning goes beyond the classroom. They need to feel, the society needs to feel them. And we are talking about responsible leaders, responsible, management education. So these students, if this doesn't happen to them now, when they go out there and they become CEOs or they have their startups, they won't understand what it means to give back to the society, to impact the society and the rest of it. So I didn't just listen for me, but fortunately for me, I told my associate deans and they said, Michael, go ahead, it's fine. And that is one thing our university does. When you bring this initiative, they don't stop you. The leadership of the university don't stop you. Rather, they encourage you and they give you all the support you need to make it happen. So resistance will always come, but it's about conviction. Of course, the university also needs to play its major role in this, to make sure that each faculty has an element of sustainability in the curriculum. Yeah.
Can I also add something to this point, Mike and Mach? I think that resistance exists when sometimes we feel there is no room to fail, there is no room to test what we can do or how far we can go. So it is quite usual that we find ourselves working around our comfort zone. And we try, as Maha said, we try to do some research activity, we try to bring some initiatives, but equally sometimes it feels like, it takes one successful project to bring more people forward. So it takes a lot sometimes, but we need to be patient, I think, with those they don't actually initiate that kind of activities. It takes a lot. It's not an easy thing. And I don't think that everyone is, as individuals, they are not ready to take these risks. This is my view. Yeah.
Can I add something? Yeah, so I agree with what Dina said. Like there is, I think there might be a lack of awareness also, like even with the faculty as well as the students. The institute is trying to do something, but they might have difference of opinions and they might not agree with the change of curriculum. I have had experiences where professors are not really interested to change their, like they had their presentations ready for us, but there has been a last minute change of including the SDG numbers 7. And talk about the brands that are not following this, and then bring up a strategy for this, but they're not interested, or the sudden change in the curriculum is also a reason. I feel like how what Maha said, and with students, it's a lack of awareness also. They don't think it is their responsibility. Unfortunately, there are people who are still like, okay, this is happening, but ignorance also maybe. But yeah, I think that there is still a few things to be done. I think that is when probably like students like us can help and contribute to bring our fellow students to sessions like this, and encourage them to like oversee what they've been blinded by, and like see the reality of what is happening around the world. Yeah.
Go ahead, Laura.
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself. Yeah, I get frustrated sometimes when I hear people talking about the young people are going to help us. That this isn't about us putting the responsibility onto students. And I feel really like strongly about that. It's more about kind of them having the resilience and being empowered to be part of something better than what's come before them. But what I was going to say as well, just kind of going back to resistance and engagement, I guess I'm not really coming against resistance amongst staff. I'm kind of coming up against them not really seeing how it affects them, what the impact that it has on them and their teaching. So for me, it's we are really busy. We're all really busy as lecturers. We have really large numbers of students in our business school, and not enough staff. And I think like the temptation is for staff to kind of use the tried and tested techniques, because doing something different is going to take a lot of headspace and a lot of time. So one thing I've been trying to do is develop like some resources for staff. So almost like some off-the-shelf stuff that they can adapt to their module. So they've still got that academic freedom, which is really important, because actually there's also a lot of staff in the business school doing loads of amazing stuff. So if I was to come along and with senior management and say you're not doing enough sustainability stuff, actually there's loads of stuff going on. I think the fact that people aren't doing it is they don't have time, or also it's a lot of people don't want to think about it. It's scary. The climate emergency is really scary, and there's a lot of anxiety that I have come across amongst my students, but also staff. They're just like, oh, it's really scary, I don't want to think about it. That was just my 2 pence worth.
Yeah, I totally support your point of view. I just want to comment on this. Totally agree that we are, as a faculty, we are extremely busy. We are teaching, we are doing research, we have some admin work. So sometimes when it's come to how to change the mindset of the students, we don't have time for this. So it's the case everywhere. I just want to share a small experience that we have. We have a very nice idea that we actually ending, which called student association. Student association is not a club. It is an association, a group of students, active students, very well selected. Their job is to help the department. Okay, so they are serving the department as a student body. So we have business associations serving the management department, we have economic association, and we have accounting association, which are the 3 departments that we have within the school. Whenever we want to spread a word of mouth among the students, whenever we want to convince the students to take a specific action, we do this through the association. And they usually listen to each other much more than listening to us. And usually, even if we have a problem with the registration, sometimes it's not even related to sustainabilities. But for example, when we introduced the task program certificate, and honestly, we paid a lot of money to have this certificate and to give it to the students. And when we do it optional, 2 or 3 students come and attend the exam. While it's open to everyone. So sometimes they don't know what is important for them, what they need actually, what did the labor market need, and they need someone, not us, to convince them. So we use our association all the time. So that it's student to students communication. So
yeah, we also have something similar in Mamet. We do have course reps. And you will see that always when you want to promote something or engage students, it is, the channel through students is always the most successful way. Because, if a student hears something or communicates something through this channel, they do tend to follow this advice rather than coming from directly from an academic. And this is very, very interesting. I don't know, is the peer support is because they feel like, they want to support something that is initiated by their own representative, but it is always a way forward, and we do use the same activities in order to promote. This can be from an event, this can be from taking some actions, or even sometimes when we set competition in order for a video competition or promotion activity, you will see that students engage with that when the communication comes through students. That's a great, way forward, I think.
Dina, but we are not like you. You have an extremely active student bodies. I guess
We
you have
do,
the
we
RISE
do.
program. The RISE
Yes.
program.
We have the RISE program, which it is a program that is offered across students for the university. The RISE program is a program that it is extracurriculum activity. They can attend this kind of classes at their own pace, from learning a new language, from learning a new skill. It can be anything, and they offer it for all students. And even sometimes they can exchange the credits once they cover all needed credits for a unit. So it is a great initiative for students, this RISE program. But we also have the union. It's a massive student union that they have so many activities for students, from traveling, from representing students' voice, from coming to meetings and bringing their ideas. We are very, very active. It is a big university. We have a huge number of students, so I think that this works really well for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, go on, Mana.
Michael, you can just start. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to buttress the point of using student representatives and class reps and the rest. In my course, when I wanted to do the social impact thing, of course, I came to India, last year, so I barely know nowhere, and I just sold the idea to the student representatives to say, okay, this is what this course is all about, and we need to have these components in it. So we need to actually go out and do the social impact thing, beyond the classroom. And they told me that won't be a problem. So within themselves, the class reps within themselves, they spoke to the students, they organized themselves. Where we were going to visit, they were the ones that gave me the idea we were going to visit. They were the ones that made the contact to those places. Okay, went to orphanage, we went to school, rural schools. They were the ones that spoke to those, the head of those schools, the head of the orphanage. the money we were going to use to do the donation, to buy items, within themselves, they organized themselves so perfectly. All we needed the university to give us was just a bus, yeah, of course, with a driver and a photographer that would go with us. So every other thing, the students spoke to themselves, they organized, even those who were not willing to go or who were not available to go were able to donate something towards that cause. So it's really helped. I was so surprised because for me, it became like a 30% of my efforts. For them, it was something they were really happy and willing to do. Through the efforts of the class reps, this was very successful. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, this is really great. Yeah, I guess يعني overall, not to conclude, but overall, I guess it's not an option anymore for us as an educator. Yani even we had a round table from 1 month ago, and we invite a lot of employers in the market. A lot of them send the person who is responsible for the sustainabilities or the social responsibilities or whatever to the event. And there was a very big discussion. And in this discussion, because sometimes since we are in Egypt, an emerging market, so still cost is number one. So we used to have resistance from the labor market, from the employer, that they don't want to go for sustainability's direction and environmental, because to some extent there is a cost here. Now with the new trends, a lot of banks that we are dealing with in Egypt will going to give a sustainability score. And this sustainability score that they are working on, based on the score, they will decide the interest on the loan. So it's now will become a part integrated in the business. It will not be an option in front of the employer. And hence for us as well as an educator, it will not be an option. We have to integrate it. We have to create awareness about it and encourage our students to know more about it, because it will be the first question in the interview. So, and even as a faculty, as a researcher, all the grants, يعني احنا we investigate, me and Dina submitted the grant early, and most of the grants that we are looking for, if there is no societal impact, there is no grants. So it is clear this should be our language, it should be the DNA of the whole school that we are talking about, because we have to cope, we have to adapt to this new language and embedded in our curriculum. And this is my general remark, seeing the perspective of different stakeholders. The accreditation body are asking about the societal impact. All the seminars by the AACSB, the ICWIS, the EMBA, the BSIS report, and so on, talking about the societal impact. The employers now talking about societal impact. The students start talking about this, and we have an example of a graduate student here. She is extremely interested in this as well. So it is the new language that we have to know. It's exactly like the AI. We have to know what is an AI, and we have to be able to deal with the AI. Otherwise, as an educators, there will be a gap between us and the student, even in the language. So I believe it's almost the same. This is my point of view. Yeah, so you can just share whatever final remark you have.
I have a question for everyone. Since we are speaking about students and how actually we develop our curriculum, what kind of practices do we adopt in our institutions in order to bring forward the voice from students and embed it to curriculum? Do we have a co-development curriculum with students? Because we do create curriculum that it is for students, but how much do we embed from what students feedback us to our curriculum? Because we do develop, it's like, developing products for customers or products you will never use, and you don't have an idea sometimes about how your customers respond to this kind of products. So curriculum is kind of a product, isn't it? And how do we co-create this curriculum with students? Do we give space to students to be part of this development? I don't have the answer here. I don't know what other people do in their institutions.
At Conestoga, there are micro-credentials where Prime can be integrated into the curriculum, and teachers, I think the faculties as well as students can take up this micro-credential where you can transform the teaching practices that will be aligned with the sustainability goals. And the micro-credential is, it's going to help the faculty to integrate the responsible management, that is the PRIME, based on the UN's sustainable goals into the everyday teaching practice. So it provides credits as well as certificates. I don't know if this helps, but yeah, it is a great step, I think, by the institution.
Yeah, could I just comment on her notes and then I will leave the floor for you? I totally agree. Micro-credential is extremely important. We ask students, we apply the micro-credentials, we open a lot of certificates for students, and we have very low enrollment. So it's a problem because sometimes still the students, okay, they don't want to go for any extra activity without grades. So it's as if we are paying salary for them. So if there is no grade, they were not going to do it. What we are trying to do is to integrate it within the courses. So if it's a digital marketing course, they have to take the course with the grade. And in addition to this, there is embedded a certificate within the course. So they can get out of the course with the certificate from DMI, for example, Digital Marketing Institute, in addition to the course. In this case, we are forcing the students to take the micro-credential. And on the same time, honestly, we are forcing the faculty to be trained with whatever recent in the market. Yeah. So it's very valid point. The micro-credential also is a new language that the students are using.
I think that brings to my challenge, which I put it in chat, providing a win-win situation. That is a big challenge. Yeah.
Big challenge. Yeah, it's true. Comments?
Yeah, it's the same thing for us here at Watson. Micro-credentials are being embedded into the curriculum. So for digital marketing and some finance courses, for example, students have to take this. And it's just like you said, Mara, it's difficult sometimes. And what Watson has been able to do here is to make sure that it's part of the assessment. So you go to Coursera, for example, you take the course and you have to bring the certificate to the lecturer as a sign that you have actually participated in that course, and that gives you some marks for your assessment. If that is not done, of course, like you said, students don't want to do extra, so they won't just do it. But because it is part of the assessment, yeah, they have to do it, and of course submit the certificate. And just to answer your question, Dina, regarding bringing students, co-creating syllabus or curriculum with the students. What we do here is we have feedback. Of course, we have feedback, on every course for every student. And as part of that feedback form, we want to know what is it that the student think they should have learned, okay, in this course that wasn't part of it. Maybe that is reactive anyway. But the beauty again is that will be an advantage to the incoming students. Okay, so if you are a year 2 student, for example, and then you're able to tell us, this is what we should have been taught, and it wasn't part of it. Of course, you won't be able to take that again because you are leaving that particular set or that particular level. But for the incoming session, we look at the holistic response, and if 80% of students are saying, okay, we should have been taught this and it wasn't there, then that will be looked into by the department and fashioned into the syllabus, for the coming session. So it is a way of win-win for the two. I mean, for the students and of course for the faculty as well. So that's a kind of co-creation that you were asking.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. This kind of end of unit, end of module review we also have, and or mid-term review where students give us some feedback and then we try to embed as much as possible. But I think that we have to look even deeper, like, from scratch, full co-creation rather than just, reviewing incrementally what we do. I think that we need to take really seriously the views from those they consume what we offer.
No, no, it's true. I agree.
I agree with you, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a final question. Yeah, just to raise, how do you measure the societal impact on students' behavior and attitude in general? Do you have a technique to do this? Do you do an experiment if students are imposed to a dose or a courses with societal impact and students without this and do the comparison? Any feedback?
That's a very difficult question, I think, for everyone. How you measure it?
It is. It is a difficult question
Always,
already.
I don't really know how you measure that.
Yeah.
It's
Anika,
really-
you have the floor. You can just, yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I'm just trying. She's muted.
Oh.
Ask to unmute. Okay. She's raising her hand, but Sana, I couldn't unmute her.
Yeah, sorry, Mara, can you ask that? Can you repeat the question? Societal impact has been measured?
I'm talking here about the measurement. Maybe because me and Madeleine are dealing with the accreditation bodies, so measurement is our language. So whatever activities we're going to do, we need to measure it. So we have a report and we report its cost benefit. So did you measure the impact of any societal impact on the student in terms of behavior, attitude, any type of change that you can just measure? We measure only the awareness. Are they aware or not? Through the direct way, which is mainly exams or whatever type of assessment, or even the task or the SORI test or whatever, which is measuring it through numbers and so on. But here we are just measuring the awareness. Do we measure their attitude and behavior?
I think
One
maybe
thing
the
we're-
outcome.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, please go on.
I would say
Yeah.
one thing we're looking at, because we did awareness as well. So like, how aware are you of what our goals are and how do you feel it was implemented into the curriculum and in your classroom? And do you feel these, importance of these, we have 3 societal impact goals, but what we're hoping for that impact is maybe even after they leave. So more of like an alumni survey is, how did you use that information in your career? Did that help you in fact what job you chose, what kind of experiences or, hopefully achievements have you had related to these areas after you left? But again, it's going to take time since we're just now developing it, to see that impact, hopefully. But that's kind of it's an indirect measure, right? But direct measures, tough. I don't have the answer on that.
Yeah,
we
I
are
also believe that
yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So I also believe that it is the case when you measure once students graduate. Alumni is a good source on that, and the actual outcome, where they possibly their first job, how fast after they graduate they get a job related to their degree. I think it should be around that. This is what for me makes sense for this metric.
We are doing the same, and we are also using some surveys, but the objective actually of the survey is to close the loop, to know if there is any gap that we need to tackle through our activities or our courses, but not to measure attitude. But we can just develop a survey to measure the attitude as well. But what we are doing in an indirect way to measure is to monitor the number of students who participate in international competition and local competitions relating to prime principle and sustainability in general. So this is also a tool. Maybe it's not the only one, but it's sometimes it helps. But I don't have an answer as well. How could we measure attitude? Because this is actually what we need to report. It's not only the quantitative result, but we need to report some qualitative result about how we participate in changing the mindset of the consumer, of the students, that lead to change their attitude. So this is, I guess, it's an open-ended question. Okay, it's a topic that we can just work on together later on to develop research in this area, because it's extremely interesting and timely. So the possibility of publication and acceptance is much higher, okay, than all topics. So so usually we are searching for topics in managing higher education and linking it to sustainability, and usually there is a very high opportunity for publication. So let's create research groups and start working on this as well. Any comment?
Not from me.
Yeah. Okay, great. It was really pleasure having you. And I guess it was a very, very productive discussion. I benefit a lot. I write a lot of notes. And most probably, if you're not going to join me, I will publish the paper. So, so please, I'm encouraging you that we can just finalize all of this and form it in a way where we have a research with impact as you start the conversation with, because it's extremely important to a lot of universities in different countries. Because if you look at us, we are representing different countries here, emerging markets, developed markets, and so on, UK, US, India, Egypt, and so on. So it's there. We are sharing the same problem, the same challenge, and the same plan for the future as well. So once more, I would like to thank every one of you, and definitely Dina and Lisa. She just left. And hope that you keep in touch and we can just have more rooms for extra discussion. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Maha. Thanks,
Definitely.
everyone.
Thank you so much,
Great
Maha.
discussion. Nice to
Thank you all.
meet
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you for
Thank
this
you, guys.
opportunity. Bye-bye.